Okay, so we're going to look at problem solving sheet number 2, and I'm going to draw a fish, and again, some of you are super artistic, but not me. So here we have the head. In the middle, I'm going to put a body, B, and then I have my tail, T. So I have H, B, and T. But notice that I know that the tail, it says the tail weighs 4 kilograms. So I'm going to put a 4 where the tail is, and I know I don't need a variable for that. So I'm going to kind of get rid of my T because I know my tail weighs 4. All right, so let's read the first hint. And again, we're going to use algebra first because algebra was created because it's an awesome problem solving tool. So if some of you were like hated algebra and you're like, oh, why? I'm never going to need algebra. Why do I need algebra? Well, if you don't have algebra in this problem, you're going to have a guess and test. And so that's why people created algebra, because it suddenly made a way to make problems easier. So algebra, guess and test, drawing pictures, making charts, solving a similar problem, those type of strategies are good problem solving skills. So I'll do algebra first and then we'll do guess and test. Okay, it says its head weighs, so H equals, the head weighs as much of the tail and half the body. Well, I know the tail weighs 4, so I don't need a variable for that. And then I'm going to use half B for the body. So H equals 4 plus half B. The second hint says the body weighs as much as the head and tail together. So the body weighs as much as the head and tail together. So B equals H plus, and again, I don't need a variable for the tail because I know it's 4. And at this point, we can do a couple different things. I don't really like that fraction on that half B. So I'm going to double the first equation. So when it says H equals 4 plus half B, I'm going to double all of that just to get rid of that half. So now I have H times 2 is 2H. 4 times 2 is 8. And then if I take that half B times 2, they cancel and I just get B. And that just is what we call clearing the fractions in algebra. And then I have a little nicer. I have B equals H plus 4. That was my second equation. And then when I modified my first equation, I have 2H equals 8 plus B. Now I'm going to use what we call substitution in algebra. So I'm going to sub the H plus 4 where the B used to be. So I have 2H equals 8 plus, and where the B used to be, I'm going to put H plus 4. And now I have an equation where I can solve for H. So I'm going to subtract my H from both sides. So I get H equals, and then 8 plus 4 is 12. So it looks like the head weighs 12. So I'm going to put a 12 on my picture where my head is. Now, to figure out the body, I know that the body equals the head plus 4. So 12 plus 4 is 16. So if you have algebra, then it's kind of like, then you can do algebra to figure out your problem solving. Okay. Now, the other way is to guess and test. All right. So I'm going to draw my fish again. So again, if you're stuck, you can always guess and test. There's no reason to say, I don't know how to do it, because you can always guess and modify your guess. So you don't just guess once, you keep guessing. So I have my head, my B for body, and 4. So I'm just going to guess, and I'm just going to make kind of a chart here. So I'm going to guess that maybe the body's 8. All right. So if the body is 8, then it says the head weighs as much as the tail and half the body. Okay, so half the body, if it's 8, would be 4. The tail is 4. So that means the head would also be 8. Okay? And so then let's see what's the last clue. The body weighs as much as the head and tail together. Well, if I add the head and tail together, that's 12. That doesn't give me my 8. Now, I could try to go smaller, so I could try 6, but I'm going to try 10. All right, so if I try 10, right, I know that the tail is what? 4. Okay, so then what's my other clue? The head weighs as much as the tail and half the body. Okay, so tail, half body would be what? Half of that is 5. That's 9. All right, and again, do the 9 and the 4 make the 10? No. Okay, so again, I'm going to try mainly to stick with even numbers because of that half. So I'm going to try 12 for the body. Okay, so if 12 is the body and 4 is the tail, and again, it says to do what? Take half of the body, which is 6, plus 4 is 10. And I'm getting closer, right? Like this was, I'm slowly getting closer. So if I add 10 and 14, I get 14. If I add the head and the tail, which I'm getting closer to 12. So I know I'm moving the right direction. So now I'm going to try 14. So, and again, the tail's still 4. So the body's 14. And then half of that, and then add. So half of 14 is 7. Add 4, and you can see a pattern when you make a chart. Like if you go in a logical order, you can see that the head is going up by 1 each time. All right, and again, when I add these together, this time I get 15, which is getting closer to my 14. So now I'm going to guess 16. And again, my tail is still 4. Half of 16 is 8, plus 4 is 12. And this time when I add the 12 and the 4, I do get my 16. So I know the head is 12, the body is 16, and the tail is 4. And then the question says, how much does the fish weigh? So if the fish has a head of 12, a body of 16, and 4, looks like it weighs 32 kilograms. So again, a lot of you show kind of maybe some minimal work. You need to, again, if you're going to be the teacher, you're going to be the one, you know, that are going to see different kids do different things. And most likely your kids, if they're younger, are not going to do algebra. If you teach middle school, they might do algebra. So again, you have to kind of be the expert on this stuff. So again, show lots of work, try different ways to try to figure it out. All right, let's look at the next one. On the next one, it says Sue has 20 cookies. She gives each friend 2 cookies. How many friends can she give to? Now, again, kids would have 20 counters here. So like they would count out 20 counters. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And again, this is, a kid is not going to subtract here in early childhood. And this is really a kindergarten, you know, kind of level, preschool level, maybe kindergarten, maybe first grade. So they have 20 cookies. She gives each friend 2 cookies. So literally what a kid is going to do is they're going to take these 2 counters and put them together. And then they're going to grab another 2 counters and put them together and another 2 counters and put them together. And they're going to keep divvying out their 2 counters. So 2 at a time. And the counters represent the cookies. So they just give everybody 2. So they just make piles of 2 cookies. And then after they're all done, like they have no many counters to divvy out, then they have to count their piles. So 1 pile, 2 pile, 3 piles, 4 piles, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So then they would be like, oh, I can give 10 friends cookies. Okay. Again, they're not just going to take 20 divided by 2 because they don't know what that means. So again, this is problem solving for early childhood. All right, let's look at 11. So 11, oh, the U-Haul one. We did the U-Haul one in class, but again, making a chart is a good idea. Let's see, counting by 3s. We talked about that in 4. So maybe going like 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24 to see what kind of options, 28, 32, what kind of options there are with the chairs. And then 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. What are the options for the 3-legged things? And then trying to find one that adds up to 53, but you need more chairs. So you need the chairs to be higher than the others. So like you might look at this and be like, oh, here we go right there. If I circle 32 chairs and 21 stools, that will add up to 53. Now, again, this is the legs, right? So 32 divided by 4 would mean that I have, what's 32 divided by 4? Is that 8 chairs? And then 21 divided by 3 is 7 stools. But again, the problem with that is like, ooh, but it has to be at least 2 more. So we're not meeting the 2 more requirement here. So that's a problem. So then it's like, shoot, I thought we had a great answer, but maybe not. So then maybe look for something else that adds to 53. So I'm going to have my chart keep going here. So what, 36, 40, and 44. And then suddenly it's like, ooh, 44 and 9. That also adds up to 53. Okay, so then 44 divided by 4 would be 11 chairs. And 9 divided by 3 would be 3 stools. Suddenly then we meet the requirement because we have more chairs than stools. So that's good. Okay, and then some of you just did guess and test and other methods. There's a lot to choose from there. All right, let's look at 11. A sign says that you're leaving Missoula in 120 miles away from Bozeman. Oh, okay. You're leaving Missoula, but I don't know how you say that. Sorry. I assume maybe it's Butte, maybe it's but. I don't know. I don't know if we're in Montana or where we're at. So we're going from Missoula, and then this, we just kind of have like a number line again. And but is, or Butte, whatever its name is, B-U-T-T-E. I should probably look that up. 120 miles away, and Bozeman is 200 miles away. Okay, so it looks like 200 miles away from Missoula. I think the sign says they're leaving Missoula, but is 120 miles away. Bozeman is 200. There is a rest stop halfway between those two towns, so Boot and Bozeman. So there's a halfway mark between. How far is the rest stop from Missoula if both Boot and Buda are in the same direction? Okay, so I did a number line going in one direction, kind of like we did with, what did we do the other day? The other problem solving one where we did kind of a number line and did A, B, C, D. So from M to Boot is 120. So I put a hash mark there. And then I just drew another distance and put Bozeman, put a hash mark there. And then I made kind of an arcing 200 from the beginning, which is Missoula, all the way to Bozeman, because that distance is 200. And then the other thing is I cut the distance between Boot or Butt or whatever it is and Bozeman halfway. Okay, so I put a little hash mark halfway between those. So if I look, I know Missoula to Boot is 120. All right, and I know I went 200 total, so that must mean that this is 80. The distance between Boot and Bozeman is 80. And if that's halfway where the rest stop is, then I know that's split 40 and 40. So my first long tick mark is 120. Hash mark where Boot is, I'm going to go with that. And then the next distance is 80. If I cut that in half, that's where the rest stop is. And so the question is, how far is the rest stop from Missoula? So from Missoula, that would be the 120 plus another 40, so 160 miles. All right, and after this, I need to look it up. All right, let's look at number 12. How many handshakes would take place? And hopefully you recognize that this is like the clinking of glasses. So if you have 12 people, right, the first person, if it's just one person, they can't shake hands with anybody, right? You're not going to say, hi, Julie. Yay. Hi, nice to meet you, Julie, right? If it's just one person. So it takes two people to make a handshake. And again, A, B, and BA are the same. They're still shaking hands. So if you have two people, that's one handshake. So if you have 12 people, that first person, like if this is me, okay, then I am going to, if I draw a little like number things, I'm only going to shake hands with 11 people. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if this is Anne, she's not going to shake hands with herself. So if I draw little lines to represent each handshake, she's going to shake 11 hands. And then Anne is done. Like she's already, shook everybody's hand. So say it's Bob is next. Well, Bob has already shook hands with Anne. So now there's only 10 people left for him to shake hands with. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I need to add 10. And then now Anne and Bob are both out of the picture. They're done. So now it's Carl. Well, Carl's only going to shake hands with 9 people and so forth. So it's going to be 11 plus 10 plus 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. And again, since we have an odd number, we can leave off the 11. And to make this faster to add, I can pair these up. So 10 and 1 make 11. 9 and 2 make 11, 8 and 3 make 11, 7 and 4 make 11, and 6 and 5 make 11. I'm just drawing little arcies between the numbers here. So if you have 10 numbers, you have 5 sets of 11 there because you're pairing them up. So you have 5 pairs and they add up to 11. But notice you have this other 11 that I'm adding in. So you don't really have 5 sets of 11. You actually have one more. So you have 6 sets of 11, which is 66. And again, on the other one, some of you double counted. So you did like, I'm trying to think what you guys did. I think you took 12 times 11 because you're like, well, there's 12 people and 11 handshakes. But the problem is you got to divide that by 2 because you're double counting. You're counting A, B, and BA as 2 different handshakes. And really, they're only going to shake hands once. So there's 12 people. Everybody shakes 11 people's hands, which is true. But that's double counting. So if you take 12 times 11 and divide it by 2, you'll also still get 66. And that's going to work there. All right, I am going to finish up in another video. So we'll finish up the elevator one, the triangle one, and hopefully have time to do the picture ones as well.